It is Friday, June 23rd of 2023, and you are watching a very confused and discombobulated Guy's Daily Drive. Bam! And welcome, everyone, to Guy's Daily Drive as traffic and technology conspire against me to do this today. I was having all kinds of problems with the mount that I use. All right, here's the thing. I started to do a Guy's Daily Drive yesterday, and there's this little plastic roundy thing that allows me to adjust my phone in the mount where it sits while I record this, hands-free and looking at the road instead of looking at the camera, because otherwise it becomes stupid and dangerous to do one of these. So I got another plasticky thing and made it so that it would hold it in place, but now other parts of the mount are also conspiring against me. And then just as I got everything, it was like, oh, that's just perfect. I looked up and my rearview mirror was all messed up. So when I adjusted my rearview mirror, that threw everything else. I mean, it's just been a whole process. So ridiculous. I was up until 2 in the morning this morning, so I'm not exactly firing on all cylinders right now. I'm very tired, and not really a whole lot going on other than the usual stuff. I went to see, or Tracy and I went to go see the eye prosthetic guy on Tuesday, and avoiding finding out what exactly or how exactly that was all going to work ended up being a pretty good idea, because the process was not fun. So basically he puts this thing in my eye, and then he puts this, it's like a safe medical epoxy in behind it, and that forms a mold of what's going on around here. And after it's pretty quick, actually. I mean, it was super uncomfortable, and I just was not a happy camper. But fortunately, it only lasts about a minute and a half. Then he takes that out and he uses that as a mold and creates a plastic thing that is in the same general shape of what the eventual prosthetic is going to be like. And then we spent the next hour to hour and a half with him putting it in, taking it out, making some adjustments, putting it back in, taking it back out. This was over and over and over again. And he said something that was kind of funny. Funny now, when he was going to go do the mold. After he took it out, he was like, okay, that's the worst of what's going to happen. And I didn't say anything. And he was like, yeah, I know. I used to tell people that the worst was about to happen, and they would get all tensed up, and it just made for an unpleasant experience beyond it already being an unpleasant experience. So he went ahead and doesn't say that now. He just waits until after. He's like, okay, that's going to be the worst that happens today. It's like, great, okay. But the kind of cool thing is, once he got it molded down mostly to where he thinks it's going to be, then he looks at the other eye and does an approximation of where the pupil is in the mold, and puts this little black stick in it. And there's a reason why that's there, and that's not going back into the eye socket, that's pointing straight out. So once he's got that in place, he puts it back in, and then he has me start looking around the room. And what this does is, the muscles in the area where the eye is gone, they're still there. So they still move around as my eye moves around. And it moves around the prosthetic as well. So as my eye is moving around, the little stick is tracking in the same direction that my good eye is. And what this means is, once the prosthetic is in place, it will mostly, it will mostly track along the same lines as my good eye. So at a glance, people who don't know that the eye isn't there, this is one of those, you have a car with some worn out paint, but from 10 yards away it still looks pretty good, that kind of thing. So if you don't know that I have a prosthetic eye, and you aren't looking for it, then you may not even realize that it's there, which is kind of the point. And we'll see what happens with that. This is like not inexpensive. It's actually kind of expensive. But hopefully insurance will pay for at least part of it. Unfortunately, this kind of thing isn't typically something that the guys that make these prosthetics are in various, with various insurance companies. So they submit to the insurance company the cost of the prosthetic, and a lot of times, just out of hand, the insurance companies deny it, and then it gets resubmitted, and it's a whole long process to get insurance companies to pay for something that they should be paying for. And the alternative is for us to go ahead and pay for it ourselves, and then submit for reimbursement to the insurance company. That will get me the eye prosthetic the quickest. And then instead of the prosthetic guy having to deal with the insurance companies, we have to deal with the insurance companies. Not like I'm not dealing with them on a regular basis anyway. It's really frustrating. You put so much into something like health insurance and paying these premiums, and when you need it, a lot of times out of hand they deny it. And they don't deny it because it's not covered. They deny it out of hand, hoping that a certain percentage of people will get frustrated and pay for it themselves, instead of having the insurance company pay for it. And I get it. I understand why they do it, because, if you don't have to spend the money, then why spend it? But going through a traumatic experience and going through dealing with, illnesses of this nature, you have a lot of stress in your life anyway. And it would be nice if the insurance companies would just take that into consideration, that, you know, you're dealing with people. You're not dealing with doctors and hospitals. At the end of the day, you're dealing with people. And people under a lot of stress should not have to deal with this. But it always comes down to money. As usual. It always comes down to money. Anyway, I'm almost to work, so I'm gonna stop for now. Thank you all so very, very much for joining me today on a really odd and morose Guy's Daily Drive. I really do appreciate the fact that you take the time to download and listen to me rambling on about whatever crazy crap is going on in my head. It is greatly appreciated. If you would like to get a hold of me, you can do so by sending me an email to guy@mymac.com or podcast@vertshark.com. VERTSHARK. You can find all of this stuff over at vertshark.com, all the videos. You can find all the audios if you subscribe to the Guy's Daily Drive feed. And if you just look up Guy's Daily Drive, it'll come up. You know, just find it that way. The videos will be up on YouTube. You can like, share, subscribe to me over there on YouTube. And if you would like to help contribute to help pay for all of the stupid things like new mirror mounts for phones and all the rest of that, you can do so by going to patreon.com/MacParrot. You can also buy me a coffee, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can pay a pal at paypal.me/MacParrot. And you don't have to. This is not a guilt trip. You really, really don't have to. All of this stuff is prepaid for anyway. And it's not like if people don't subscribe and if people don't give me money, then I'm going to stop doing it. No, I'm going to keep doing it, whether you guys give me money or not. That's how this works. That's how it's always worked. So do or don't. Enjoy the content guilt-free. There's no guilt trip going on here. I just appreciate the fact that you guys watch and listen and occasionally give me some feedback. And that's really all I'm looking for, is a conversation. So, having said that, thank you all again for joining me today right here on Guy's Daily Drive, and I will see all of you next time right here on Guy's Daily Drive. Bye-bye.